Okay, welcome all. In this short video, I will be explaining to you how to go about using the workbook provided, and we will be dealing with basic information on bones, which will include the skeleton, the bones, and joints classification. So the link to this worksheet is in the assignments tab on Microsoft Teams. It's also, if you go into the calendar for today's lesson, which is Tuesday the 28th of April, in the lesson plan that I write out there, you will also find the same information. So it's two places that you can go and get the same information. So this is what your front cover will look like. And in this section, we will be covering the names of the bones, which we've already done a fair bit on already. You should have a very good knowledge of the names of the bones. If you haven't, you've got some work to do under your own steam. We're also going to be looking then at the skeleton, and the way in which we talk about the sections and use of the skeleton is split into two parts, the axial and the appendicular. And then we will be going to look at the types of bones. So we know the names of the bones. We're going to look at the categories of the types of bones. Okay, and then that will lead to joints. Joints basically are where two or more bones meet at a point. And there are certain types, categories of joints. So we understand the types of bones. We understand the types of joints. One of those types of joints is called a synovial joint. And there are 6 types of synovial joints, so we're going to put categories. So it's understanding the process. So the names of the bones themselves, the parts of the skeleton, and what we talk about the anatomical position and how we view it, front and back, and what we call that. And then you've got the types of bones. Okay, and I've given you some examples here, and then it's the types of joints, and then the types of specific synovial joints. So synovial joint is one type of joint, okay, but it's an important one for you. In the workbook, throughout the workbook, there are lots of pictures that will give you some clues actually, and there are lots of links that you can also use. Okay, so this is a bit like a comprehension in that you've got to go and follow the links and find the answers to the work. Okay, the answer to your name, you should know that one, so fill that in, and then you're going to work your way through. So this picture will be familiar to you. Okay, what you'll see is I have numbered from left to right, 1 to 8, and then on the right hand side 9 to 26. Good idea if you did that on page 7 of your book as well. I can tell you that numbers 3, 4, 5, not 6, but 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8. And I've put green arrows here in this diagram. They refer to the sections of the spine. Okay, so the spine or the vertebra. So you need to know what sections they are. Okay, all of this information you can see here that I put my clues for you, my heads up clues in green font. And as you go through, the questions are there. Okay, a lot of them you might not know the answers to, but you will need to follow the links to go and get the answers, and there'll be lots of other information there as well. So the first set of questions here is just the bones, okay, and then we talk about what the anatomical position is and how you would define it. Okay, so at this point you're probably not entirely sure, okay, but this is what the research is for, and this is what the links are for, which we will then go over. This is compulsory work, guys. It needs to be done this week by Friday 3 p.m. and we will go over it. As we move on, we put the bones into the classification. So what I've done here in blue is I've given you the answer to the first one, which should be of help to you, and you have to fill in the next. And you've got to give a fact for each type of bone. So for long bones, okay, which are things like the femur and the humerus, there are others. Their function is to support the weight of the body and facilitate movement. Okay, if you follow the link, lots of help, and the answers are there. Moving on to joints and joint classifications. Okay, so you're going to classify the joints, and I've given you some clues here. So IM stands for, well, you've got to work that out. SLM stands for, and you've got to work that out. Okay, if you go to these links, there's some video links and some page links. All the answers are there. So just work your way through the questions with the links. Moving on, so far I've gone over the bones, I've gone over the skeleton and the view of the skeleton. Okay, and we've looked at the classification of joint types, and we're moving on. So one of those joint types is a synovial joint, which is split into 6 different types and different locations. Okay, so 6 types of joint, but they're on different locations. So this is what this question here, and this is what this link will help you with. And then finally, on the skeleton, question 9, last question, you will be naming some of those things. And you can see here that I've actually named this one for you. Okay, so I've helped you with that. So it's a ball and socket joint, which you may well have heard of. Okay, it's not just in the shoulder, it's in other parts of the body as well. So again, okay, as you won't be surprised, there is a link here. Okay, follow the link and fill in the questions. Okay, that's about it, guys. It should be fairly straightforward for you. It's one thing filling in the answers, but you are also expected to understand them and learn them. Okay, remember, we won't be doing any formal assessment for NCEA while we're on lockdown. But once we get back to school, there we will be getting into it very, very quickly. So if you're not doing the work, or if you're doing it but not doing it very thoroughly and not remembering a lot of these things, ultimately you're going to fail the achievement standards. So you know, make sure that you get the answers correct, and we will go over them. But most importantly, once you've got them down correctly, you're actually learning them. Okay, good luck with this, guys. Should be pretty straightforward. And after this, we will be moving on to muscles, which is probably a little bit more complicated. So okay, let's make sure we do the good job here. Okay, any questions, please let me know. It's always better to email me to my school email address rather than through Microsoft Teams or through Facebook, because it's just harder for me to keep up with all of those different places for messages across all of my different classes. Okay, good luck, guys, and sing out if you've got any questions at all.